Captain on the bridge.
Alright, captains, we are back on the bridge, and today I wanted to go over how to play Star Trek Online in 2022. Now, I am a streamer as well on Twitch, and I get asked this question a lot, and it's a very loaded question. And I say that because Star Trek Online is very layered in the terms of the gameplay. So I always give this very basic advice, and that's what I want to do today. We're going to go over how to start, some little tips and tricks as we go along the way, and then kind of give my final thoughts / even more recommendations. So when you get to this screen right here, this is your choose your character or create a character screen. As you can see here, this is my main, Trizio. He's been a captain since 2014. At the moment, he is in the Inquiry class starship, which is from Star Trek Picard. But this is where you're going to start your journey as a captain. Now, there are 6 factions that you can choose from. There's the Federation, there's the Klingon, there's a Romulan, and then you have your TOS tune choice, Jem'Hadar, and or Discovery tune. So there's 6 possible characters that you can make. For me, my first character, like I said, was Trizio. He's just a human tac. But when starting out, there's 2 things to consider because you will also get multiple answers from multiple different captains. For me, my basic recommendation is if you're just starting to play Star Trek Online, pick whatever faction, pick whatever career. And when I say career, there's 3 careers in Star Trek Online. There's tactical, engineering, and sci. You can't go wrong with either of them if you're just going to play the game for fun and for the Star Trek feels. 100%. My tune, like I said, is human, and he has done fine, and up to this day, I can have him play casually and or even bring him up to the quote-unquote end game play. Having said that, you will probably also get a recommendation to go create a a Romulan KDF aligned tune. Why is that? Because that Romulan over here, and then KDF aligned, you will have a choice early on in the story which side to support. Again, in the story, I'm not going to do any spoilers here. That race actually has the highest performance ceiling if you are going for end gameplay. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Again, there's a lot of details that we can go into, but this is not the video for that. If that is something you would like me to get into, I can leave a comment down below, and or check out the other Star Trek Online content creators when it comes to something like that, because that, again, in itself gets very layered and there's a lot of information. And like I said, this is not the type of video for that. So after you create your tune, you're going to go through the tutorial. Okay, the tutorial, you're going to have pretty much 6 different styles of tutorials to go through. So you can even create one of each just to go through the story and see how each tune progresses. And tip number 1 here from me, one of many, is to just take your time. Enjoy the story. They have done a lot of work over the years to redo the tutorials, and I think they did a fantastic job. Now, if you can notice here in the KDF race, they have this little shiny thing going on. As of recording today, February 16th, there is something called a Kdf Recruits, wherein if you make this tune, this character, you will get a character slot like this, and then you'll have this symbol right beside it, meaning it's a recruit. Now, I have made a video on this, so captains, highly check that out in the channel there. But throughout the year moving forward in 2022 and beyond, it has been stated from the devs themselves that the recruitment events will be a reoccurring thing. So you have your Kdf recruit, Your gem header recruit, your temporal recruit, that's something to actually really look out for, the temporal, and your delta recruit. I may be missing some more, but regardless, we will always cover that in this channel when the news does come up. The temporal recruit is something to look out for because there is an account unlock bonus, which actually gives some really, really good benefits in unlocking. But again, this is not the type of video for that. Just look out for that. But again, like I said, right now, currently there is a Kdf Recruit going on, which can give you some great, great rewards just through playing the story. Just through playing the story. So there's that. Go through the tutorial, go through the motions, and then you can actually then start playing some Space Barbie when you get to a certain point of the story, which is the beginning, and then after the tutorial. So we're gonna get in the game here. So again, there is a lot to Star Trek Online, and it's just really too hard to go over in one video. I want to try to make this as to the point as I can, so that to give newer players a chance to just start. And that's the thing, just start. Because when you go here to this menu here, and all you got to do to open this journal window is just hit J. There's tip number 1, or 2, I guess now. Then when you head over to episodes, you will see all of these arcs here. Each tab here is an arc, and they can contain up to like 10, 12 stories. They have been getting shorter over the years, but that is because a lot of that has to do with the voiceover talents that they are bringing into Star Trek Online, but we'll get to that in a bit here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, each race will have their own tutorial and not necessarily available to the tune that you make. So if I made a Federation tune, I won't have access to the start of the Klingon tutorial or Romulan. So that's why I mentioned earlier, try each race, check out their tutorials, and so then you can get a sense of how each one starts, and then you can find which one's going to work for you. But after you get to a certain point, you kind of start right here in the Klingon War. And then from there, you just go through your arcs. Okay. I just recommend here, go through the story and enjoy it. There are a lot of Star Trek nuggets along the way, which harken back to TNG, DS9, TOS, Voyager, Enterprise, all the shows, even right now, Discovery, which is current now. So the one thing I tell newer players is just go through the story. Don't worry about anything else, but just enjoying the story for what it is. Watch all the cutscenes, read all the text, immerse yourself as much as you can. Because in these episodes, these story arcs, there's a lot of great voiceover actors. And just to name a few, you have Sela, Tuvok, Worf, 7 of 9, Harry Kim, Neelix, the Doctor, Tom Paris, Martok, Kern, Daniels. You have Odo, you have Geordi, Kira, Garrick, Bashir, Quark, Nog, Rom, Lita, Lorca, Burnham, Tilly, Gowron, Laurel, Landry, and just recently, of course, Captain Janeway herself, or now, I guess, Admiral. But I'll let you experience that on your own. And for me personally, I've enjoyed every single voiceover that they've brought into the game here. It's just given another connection to the shows that you and I have loved and experienced over the years. So enjoy the story. I'm going to say that a lot because I really want you captains to immerse yourself here. This is part of Star Trek, and it's just right now, my feeling personally, it's just one of the greatest times to be a captain here in Star Trek Online, especially if you love Star Trek lore. So there's that, voiceovers. Now, as you level up, you will get free ships. So again, don't worry about buying ships. at the moment when you're going through this, because at level 10, so you get your starter ship, then you'll get another free ship at level 10, level 20, level 30, level 40, and then your final free ship at level 61. This is just, again, just progressing up from level to 0, and the max cap right now is 65. And that level 61 was just recently that they added for a ship token. And again, the game will direct you to where to get that, and usually that is your faction's shipyard. So there's that. You're going to get free ships as you level up, and you'll have access to the Connie, the Galaxy, the Intrepid, the Defiant, the Sovereign. You know, most of the hero ships you will have access to. And then when you get to the end of the story arc, when you get the end of the game, you can then sort of figure out, you'll find out by then what your playstyle is, and then make a decision. Because again, that in itself could be a whole video on what ship to choose, which I actually do have a video on actually what ship to choose at tier 5 in the Zen store and tier 6. So go check that out, captains. Having said that, when you have your ships and you're going through the story, you're going to have a lot of drops, loot drops. And the one recommendation I have, and we'll just pull up my tune here, as you go along, is to fill out all these slots as best as you can. There is no rhyme or reason. There's a lot of RNG in terms of the drops that they give you, in terms of weapons and then supporting consoles, whether it be engineering, science, or tactical. The one major tip that I will give is just try to synergize whatever weapons you end up slotting, whether they be energy and or torpedoes, have it backed up and or boosted by your tactical consoles. For example, right now I have on this ship cannons, okay, with 2 N, C-A-N and O-N, a phaser cannon. What I have boosting the phaser damage is a tactical console that boosts phaser damage. Usually at the start you'll have things called phaser relay and or plasma relay, disruptor relay, whatever have you, whatever choice that you have available in your slots here. And then as you go along through the story, upgrade as best as you can via the loot by replacing your stock weapons with what you got. So your weapons, your deflector, your impulse, your warp, your shields, and then consoles. The other sort of tip I will give in terms of your ships is to also build out your engineering in terms of resists for defense rating and or turn rate. And that usually will come form of RCS. Now you will have to do a lot of text reading when it comes to this. So you'll just, all you have to do is hover over a certain console that you have or in your inventory or whatever it may be, and then it'll come up in text form, and all you got to do is just read. And you'll, sometimes it's very straightforward, sometimes it's a little confusing, but just read it, go through it. Again, take your time in this, because shipbuilding becomes a very important part of your end game. Not so much when you're going through the story, but again, it becomes part of sort of another layer of enjoyment in Star Trek Online. Hence, you'll see in my video archive me doing a lot of builds, because it just gives me a chance to try different ships out, different builds, different sort of layouts when it comes to, again, try to build your ship as basic as you can when you're going up, and then worry about all the bells and whistles when you get to the quote-unquote endgame. And when I talk endgame, that in itself could be multiple videos that have already been covered, but we will also cover ourselves in our own little way, dropping our 2 ECs and our recommendation. So there's that. When you go through the story, you can also get weapons, space sets from them. For example, if you go to episodes, let's go to what I know here. So Future Proof, Sunrise. I go to this because it is a very popular mission to get space sets. Probably already have that here. Available, in progress. Go to Sunrise. When you read the scroll, and scroll down, when you read the mission, just scroll down, and then here you'll see the rewards that you can get. So you can get from this particular reward, when you get to it, Sunrise, in the future proof arc, you can get a quantum phase torpedo, a console, a universal console, which boosts phaser, which is called the quantum phase converter. And again, all you got to do is just hover over it, and then little text will come up. A quantum phase beam array, quantum phase dual heavy cannon, phaser dual beam bank, and or a turret. Captains, I would not pick any current lockboxes as, because sometimes they'll actually ask you to choose one of the following. So having said that, you can rerun these missions for these sets, because 3 of these will actually give you a bonus set. And there's going to be a lot of that. Again, I don't want to go into that. Just try to pick out the ones that would help you. And if you get to a mission that has, like this, has these multiple options, you do have to run it multiple times to get each item. And again, that will depend on how you're building your ship as well. I know that's a lot of info, captains, but we're trying to keep it short and sweet. But there's a lot of these, and another one that we will give an example of here is if you go episodes and then go to, I believe that was New Frontiers, Nexus. Beyond the Nexus in the New Frontiers arc. This is one of my favorites. One of my favorites, and then when you accept, you'll also get like a mini dialogue like that. But when you accept, you go here, go down, you see this is one of the most popular sets to get, especially on the Federation side, if you really like phasers. So there's an Omni Beam here, there's an engineering console, there's a torpedo, there's a turret, and then there is a phaser rifle for ground. So again, you'd have to run the episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to get all of this, unfortunately. Again, some of them are short, some of them are long, but as you go along, just go through it for the sake of story, and then at least maybe keep down a notepad which ones you can come back to, or run it right then and there. But the one thing that I would recommend is not to rerun it where you burn yourself out, because it can be quite tedious to do so. But at least you'll know how to run the story already, having run through it once. And again, it's up to you. You're the captain of your ship. You can do whatever you want. So there's that little tip there as well. Also, when you are going along, you will get a lot of pop-up texts or windows saying you've done this, done that. Read them carefully. Try not to skip over them. They can get easily missed, like I did when I was leveling up. But what you can do is always go back. If you go here, X that in your chat box up here, you can always kind of click on these tabs to find out what was just said to you. So that episode that we clicked on, to show you, here is the actual dialogue here. So it'll always pop up in either these 4 tabs here. If you miss something, there's a window you accidentally exit, because that does happen. So there's that. Try to read every text that you have. Now, here is my captain. What I showed you at first here in the tab here was my ship. Also here is your captain itself. Now, you'll have a chance to also knit out, gear out your captain with kit modules, with body armor, shields, weapons, and devices. Again, that's a lot of info, but just try to slot what you can. Just, again, there's not a lot of synergy that you need to worry about on the ground. The ground combat could be pretty easy, but in my opinion, it's also clunky. So, but you also have to worry about, I don't say worry about, but when you bring your bridge officer with you, you can also knit them up, but they don't have the kit module slots. That's just for your captain. But when you go to ground missions, sometimes and most of the time, they will be with you and make sure that they're knitted out as best as possible as well. But those come in forms of drops as well as you progress through the story. either on ground and or space. A majority of this game is done in space, so you'll find yourself a lot of times in space and getting the loots from there. And then when you get said loot, they'll be in your inventory. And all I got to do to bring up your inventory is just hit the U key, and it'll bring up your inventory here, and then you'll see what, because sometimes you miss, you're in the middle of combat, you want to get a window out of the way you exit, or you need it and then you don't know what you grabbed. You can just go to inventory and see what you have there. Okay, a lot of things in this game also have a lot of rabbit holes that can go down to. And I say that because it goes back to one of my original statements of this game being so layered. So for yourself not to get so overwhelmed and not to try to waste any, real life resources, you can go through this story without spending a dime, without spending any real life money. So just go through that, and I would suggest that you run all this on normal. And how you do that is when you go through your tab here, the window below your HUD, just click on the Starfleet logo there, and then you'll see Elite difficulty here, Advanced, and Normal. Just go do it on normal. Unless you're hardcore and you're getting used to it, you're finding yourself getting better, go ahead, experiment. But let me warn you, captains, from normal to advanced, there is a slight bump, but then from advanced to elite, there is a massive jump in terms of what you have to go through to take down an NPC. And that's usually in terms of their HP, their health, because the difficulty here on Star Trek Online, how it scales, is usually a huge health boost for your NPCs, and then their abilities to pretty much one-shot you. So again, something to think about. Play everything on normal until you start getting used to the gameplay and all that. Activating your powers as you go along, that is sort of taught to you as you go along, but when you're in space combat, you will find that there's all this stuff here. I know it's quite daunting when you see that, but they will go through it. My little tip here is to, before you attack an enemy, try to hit your abilities and have your abilities match what you have in your ship. For example, if I have cannons here, all my weapons here in the front of the ship is cannons. And again, you can customize your ship build how you want. One of the great things about this game is you can build your ship how you want. But in this example, I have cannons here. I wouldn't have a beam power to buff up my cannons. That makes sense. Now, you will probably see my icons down the road, or one of you are veteran players. You'll see that, then why do you have beam, fire, at will? Again, when I say beam, fire, at will, it's this icon here. You will learn this over time. There are another layer is traits, and that's what we're going to next, is traits. You have a set default of traits for personal and space, starship, space, ground, active ground reputation, and active space reputation. This will get all filled out as you level up. You will get some free traits, but there's also traits that you can get from ships, from missions. Again, I don't want to make this about going down that rabbit hole. There can be another video about that. This is not the video for that. This is just trying to, again, keep in mind all of the things that it takes to sort of go through. When I first started playing, I didn't even fill out my space rep or personal traits or anything, and I still got through it. And I didn't even learn a lot of the things that I know now till after I reached endgame. Having said that, when you reach endgame, one of the things that you would like to look out for when you start your journey as a captain is try to find a fleet. Now, if you haven't joined a fleet, you probably get a lot of blind invites just to join. That's how I've sort of joined the fleets that I am in. And it's been great for me, but I've heard experiences that they have been not so good. So there's that to think about. When you join a fleet, you also gain access to a bunch of other weapons that are exclusive to what you call fleets. So again, that we can make that another video, but that's just something to keep in mind. The other thing that I will note with that is one of the best things you can do is try to find captains who are like-minded and or will help you out and go through the story if that's your thing. When you go through the story, I personally like going through it by myself first and then possibly helping those who want help. Because sometimes the missions when I was leveling up were hard and I needed some help. They came along with me, but they still let me enjoy the text, the voiceovers, while they were just there to help and support me. So finding a fleet, finding a group of friends is also something that you can look out for as you're leveling up. Not necessarily needed when you're going just through the story, but something to keep in mind when you play, because you will probably get invites because they'll see on your character that you're not in a fleet and then they'll just throw an invite. Then yeah, so just look out for that. You may personally know someone already. You can even ask myself for any more tips in the comments below when you go through that, and maybe have some suggestions. I personally, of course, would give any help I can. And as I mentioned, I am a Twitch streamer, so I stream there nightly. Pop on by the bridge. You can have that time with me live, and then you can actually ask questions right then and there. And I am not the most knowledgeable captain, but I have aligned myself with a lot of like-minded captains who play this game for the love of Star Trek. So there's that. Now, for leveling up your captains in terms of ships, the one thing, of course, we know about Star Trek is it loves its ships. So, as of this recording, again, it's the 16th of February. Tomorrow, February 17th, will be start of an event called an event year-long campaign, and I will show it here. Events, event campaign. This campaign, and we also did a video on this, you can check out for a little bit of a shorter version of this. This campaign stretches over a whole course of a year. So for example, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events that happens throughout the year, every month, every 2 months, that the progress you do will store up and get you actual reward of ships. So this event campaign here, as you can see here, you can actually get a promo ship, a premium, or what they call a premium T6 starship choice. So these are the ships that you'll see in the lock boxes or the R&D promo boxes. You can get it for free for just doing the event. Okay, the individual events, because all of these individual events add up to your campaign progress, which you'll see here, so that you can get your reward. You can either get a free premium T6 starship choice of 1 ship, or 2 tier 6 coupon ships. The end game ships here, quote unquote end game ships here, Star Trek Online right now is tier 6, or the highest tier of ship you can get. And or there's also something called low buy, which you can also get ships there, but captains with low buy, you'll hear a lot of different recommendations, but personally for me, I recommend getting low buy so you can use it for gear. Again, that'll be another separate discussion that we can have on another video for another day. If anything, these are the 2 that I would look out for. Now, I play on PC and have been playing since 2014, but I have a free-to-play account on PS4, so on console. Keep in mind that with whichever platform you choose, PC will get their all the stuff first, whether it's new episodes, new ships, they'll always get it first. And then about a month, maybe about 2 months down the road, console will get it. So whenever you see any blogs come out, again, just try to just know that it'll be for mostly PC first, but then it will follow suit onto the console. So for me, having a free-to-play console account on console, my pick on that brand new account would probably for sure be the tier 6 ship, because I am not throwing any money at it. I'm just going through what essentially the journey you're going through, starting a new account and just playing Star Trek online, for experiencing it from a free to play point of view. Now, having said that, it can be free to play, because again, you can just get ships. Even these individual events, they give you rewards, weapons, even coupons, tier ship coupons, ground weapons, ground sets, space sets. So another major tip slash recommendation is always do the events. Always do the events. Even if you just log on, do the event, log off, get the progress to make sure that it works towards this, especially this event campaign. That's going to start tomorrow on the 17th. When you gather enough of the progress, you can actually get this done. You can pay for it if you'd like, with real life money, but I could recommend you don't and just do this as free to play, because again, you get all this stuff for free, or one of these for free of your choice. And my recommendation is just going first for the premium T6 starship choice, and then or the 2 tier 6 ships, which a lot of people say you will need this. No, you don't. No, you don't. All that you will hear from me is just recommendations. Any tier 6 ship, even tier 5 ships in the Zen store, can still do all the content here in Star Trek Online. It is not needed for you to spend money to buy an expensive ship to get to the content here. No. The end game is made up. I will say that again. I might get some heat for this. The end game is made up here. Made up to what you want to do, and of course how you want to enjoy your time here in Star Trek Online. Whether that be the high-end DPS chasing, whether that be Space Barbie, knitting out your ships, knitting out your captain with various costumes, etc. Anything can be your endgame. What makes the endgame is finding a group of like-minded captains. Period, point blank. That I will stand by, because that is my experience, and this is why I want to share this with you in this video. So there's that. Again, do the events so that you can get free things throughout the year, and then you can enjoy any of the content here without spending a dime. There will be some nuances here. People will say spend the 500 Zen to unlock your dilithium ceiling and or EC ceiling, but again, not the time for this video. And there's so many things to go over, Kevin. Like I said, we haven't even gone to the R&D, we haven't gone to the assets. There's the reputation system that you can go through as well, that gives you more free gear. Again, free gear. There is going to be a lot of time investment, captains. I'm not going to hide that. There's a lot of time investment, but like in any game, you can use real life resources to get that certain thing, ship, item, armor that you want if you pay real money. But if you enjoy Star Trek and just invest time, you can get almost anything here in game over the time. And having said that, with all the Star Trek that is happening right now in real life, whether it be Discovery, the upcoming show Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, Star Trek Picard, Prodigy, a lot of that has already boiled into Star Trek Online. And a great example of that right now is this, the Inquiry. So this is the ship that you saw in Star Trek Picard when Riker came to save Admiral Picard. Now this is a premium ship. I got this off of what you call the exchange, but you can know it as the auction house or whatever. But this was before the whole event campaign. So if I would have known then what I know now, I wouldn't have used my EC, because these things can get very, very expensive in terms of EC resources. But I'm saying, going back to what I was saying, a lot of what you will see come in Star Trek will come to Star Trek Online. And that's why I feel like it's such an exciting time to be a captain here on Star Trek Online, because for me, the recommendations that come from me, find it comes from three things that I love about Star Trek: ships, characters, and story. It's all here. I experience all of that here, and this is what keeps me coming back every day to play this game. A lot of people will use the word grind and all that stuff. I don't use that word. I use play. This is a game, and remember that first and foremost, this is a game, and you will get out of it what you put into it. And hopefully, like I said, along the way, along your journey, you find your crew, you find your friends that you can play with and enjoy Star Trek Online. So again, there is a lot of things that they will be coming down the pipeline here over the next 3, 4, 5, maybe even 10 years, who knows? But for sure, in my sort of view of things, a good 3 years. And to go through the story arc, it's not going to take you long. It'll depend on how much time you put in, but that again, everything is about time investment. Now, before you start as well, there are some sites to check out: Epic Games, Alienware, and maybe just type into Google Star Trek Online free ships, free items, and then sometimes they'll give free promo codes there for, like I said, ships or items that you can use right off the bat, that you can start your journey here in Star Trek Online. I know that was a lot to go through, but I said earlier at the beginning, Star Trek Online can be very layered. But at the base recommendation, here's my conclusion: go through the story caps, enjoy it for what it is, try to find like-minded captains so that you can play and enjoy Stowe, do the events so you can get all the pretty things for the pew-pews, whether it be ground or space, and really just enjoy Star Trek Online. We're going to keep it very concise when it comes to the recommendations that we give moving forward. In the terms of the videos that we'll be doing, we will try to focus on, like what I had mentioned before, reputation, current season game, where to get XYZ, how to do missions, how to do TFOs. Again, don't worry yourself about that, captains. Go through the story. And I really do hope that you find as much as enjoyment that I have since 2014 in Star Trek Online. And hopefully, maybe one day, our crews can cross paths and we can do some Star Trek pew-pew. So with that said, captains, we're going to leave it there on this advice.
Don't let them promote you. Don't let them transfer you. Don't let them do anything that takes you off the bridge of that ship, because while you're there, you can make a difference.